It was already tight in the courtroom. Head held high, red folder in hand, Rasheeda and her legal team had just entered the room, prepared to complete the divorce that had the whole city on edge. Despite the fact that cameras were prohibited inside, the steps, the murmurs, the quiet verdicts. And then, like a warning shot, a pair of heels clicked along the corridor just as it seemed that everything would go calmly. Jasmine was the one, not on the list. She arrived even though it was unexpected. Before the judge had even opened his words, she was holding something that would rock the room, uninvited and unbothered. Rasheeda pivoted. Kirk stopped. Jasmine grinned. Then she spoke 5 words that completely upended the courtroom. It's not the end of the divorce. Suddenly, the new chapter started. Not in a romantic relationship, in battle, not in peace. There was silence in the room. The kind of silence that, in a darkness, adheres to the walls like heat. The stress thickening. Each breath made even the fluorescent lights above hum softly. Alongside her powerful attorney, Tasha Duval, who just weeks before had frozen Kirk's secret assets, Rasheeda sat on the left side of the courtroom bench. Rasheeda remained still. Her nails were immaculate, and she exuded calm, focused, and controlled energy. Kirk, however, seemed to have been without sleep for 3 days. Perhaps he hadn't. There were rumors that his fraud case was getting more complicated. His own legal representative, a slick-talking man named Victor Malone, sat next to him, as rumors of a second hidden account surfaced just days before this hearing, sweating profusely while wearing a fitted suit that didn't completely conceal his terrified stance. It was more than simply a divorce. This was a power struggle, a legacy conflict, and a brand war. However, the doors to the courtroom sprang open. Before the judge could say anything, keep clicking and clacking. When everyone turned, she was there. Jasmine Washington, looking like she just stepped out of a reunion tape, with her hair down, burgundy power dress, and lip gloss popping. However, her attire wasn't what made everyone fall silent. She was holding it in her hand. Tasha. It was a big, hefty, sealed vanilla envelope that was designated as confidential. Duval turned to Rasheeda and said something in a whisper. Rasheeda's jaw was clenched and her lips were shut as she stared at Jasmine without blinking. Kirk, he sat up, fists clenched. You. The perspiration behind his ears was visible. The judge cleared his throat. You are not mentioned in this process, ma'am. Please. Jasmine held up one finger. Respectfully, Your Honor, this has a direct impact on the proceedings. The judge blinked. And you are? She grinned. Jasmine Washington, the mother of Kirk Frost's kid. And I have documents that prove this divorce isn't what it seems. The whole room moved. Someone in the back gasped. A clerk in the courtroom dropped their pen. Kirk leaned forward. What are you doing, Jasmine? Something I should have done. Years ago, she snapped, never losing eye contact with Rasheeda. The magistrate held out his hand. Ms. Washington, please approach the bench. Jasmine strode forward, heels ringing like gunshots, and put the envelope before the judge. He opened it slowly, expression neutral, until he pulled out the papers inside, and then his brows burrowed deeply. The hush was surgical. Rasheeda's fingers curled slightly. Kirk moved uneasily. The judge adjusted his spectacles, glanced through page after page, then gazed up Mr. Frost. Would you want to explain these transactions? Malone, Victor, fumbled for his notes. Kirk looked blindsided. I have no idea what's in that envelope. Your Honor. Jasmine looked around, face blank, tone murderous. It's his autographs from 2 years ago. He's been paying another lady under a phony LLC billed as client consulting $4,500 monthly. Kirk and the infant caught everyone's attention. The judge inquired. Jasmine nodded. The child is now 3. I don't own it. But guess who's been hiding it from Rasheeda? Boom! A pin may have been dropped. Rasheeda's face didn't change. Not a muscle. Trembled, yet her chest lifted with one slow intake. Not rage, not panic. Something colder. A dot. Tasha leaned closer once again. We're looking for a let's take a 5-minute break. The judge frightened, nodded. Granted. The courtroom quickly cleared, out into the hallway. Hell erupted. VH1 producers and paparazzi were waiting in the lobby, but cameras were not permitted inside. The flashes began as soon as Jasmine left. Jasmine, did you just accuse Kirk of hiding a third child? Kay, are you doing this for Rasheeda or against her? Is this baby tied to the Frost brand? Jasmine halted, turned slowly to the cameras. I'm not here for clout. I'm here for truth. Rasheeda deserves to know who she really married. Then she walked away like she just exploded a bomb because she did. Inside the courthouse's private chamber, Rasheeda finally exhaled. But not in defeat. In confirmation. I knew it, she muttered. Tasha nodded. We've been watching that LLC for 6 months. We simply didn't have evidence of the child. Rasheeda sat up taller. Well, now we do, and now we go for the jugular. Meanwhile, Kirk was in full meltdown mode back in the courthouse conference room. He slapped his fist on the table, shaking his head. She's lying. Jasmine's always had it. Out for me. Victor, attempting to tidy the mess, answered. They have financial records, LLC transactions. If the kids corroborated, that's child support plus fraudulent concealment. It might compromise your divorce settlement totally. Kirk paced the room, breathing deeply. I thought I had this handled. Paid everyone. Victor cut in. Clearly, someone didn't remain purchased. Outside, court officials prepared to resume. Rasheeda, however, wasn't holding out. She rose up, took out her phone, and made a call. Mom. Yeah, that occurred. Get the pressing ATL accounts separated today. Remove my picture rights off any co-branded work and inform Mona if Kirk's name comes up in next season's commercial. I walk. She hung up. The storm has come and Rasheeda wasn't hiding behind no umbrella. She was the lightning now. The courthouse air was different now. You could feel it. What was supposed to be a standard divorce proceeding had turned into something messier, louder, and way more dangerous than anyone expected. And the root of the turmoil. Jasmine. She wasn't even supposed to be there. Okay, now she was the center of it all. As people filed back into the courtroom, whispers floated around like smoke. Even the court reporter couldn't resist gazing at Jasmine, who was now sat peacefully in the back as if she hadn't just launched a truth nuclear. And Rasheeda remained poised. But something in her eyes had moved. She wasn't there to fight for her marriage. She was there to burn everything to the ground, then salt the dirt so nothing could sprout in its stead. The judge returned merely at his robe and patted the bench. Let's continue. Stata Duval stood up. Your Honor, based on the new evidence entered into record, which we now have verified copies of, we are requesting an emergency hearing to modify the divorce terms, including a freeze on all shared property tied to the Frost estate and the full disbursement audit of any financial activity. Over the past 3 years, Victor stood scrambling. Disapproval. This item was entered without sufficient notification. We want time to evaluate. The judge raised a hand. Mr. Malone, your client had every chance to be open. This is the second undeclared account, and now, a probable paternity issue that concerns financial distribution. Your objection is acknowledged and overruled. Boom. Rasheeda remained unflinching. She leaned back, crossed her legs, and flashed Kirk a look that screamed, "Try me again." Kirk. He looked like he aged 10 years in 5 minutes, but Jasmine wasn't done. Oh no. The judge cleared his throat. Is Miss Washington still present? Tasha stood again. We'd want to summon her to the stand shortly with permission from the court, Your Honor, Victor burst. This is ridiculous. She's not a party to this divorce, but she's vital to the covert cash sources, Tasha snapped. And we have grounds to assume she knows about more. That shut the room up. The judge nodded. Let's hear it. And just like that, Jasmine took the stand. Keep clicking and clacking. She strolled with a type of calm assurance only a lady harboring secrets may carry. After being sworn in, she sat down, folded her hands, and gazed straight ahead. Tasha started. Miss Washington, you testified earlier that you uncovered payments made to a third party via an LLC? Yes. Was Kirk Frost aware such funds were traceable? Jasmine grinned. He didn't believe I'd say anything. Why now? Jasmine hesitated, glanced at Rasheeda, then back to the judge. Because I watched what he did to her and I understood I was next. You mentioned a kid. Is this youngster Kirk Frost's? Yes, and he's known since the day the baby was born. Gasps rippled again. Do you have proof? She nodded, then brought out her phone and held it up. I have voice notes from Kirk stating that. The courtroom almost collapsed. Even the judge appeared frightened. Victor complained, but the harm was done, Jasmine continued. He urged me not to say anything. Told me if Rasheeda found out, she'd take everything. Guess what? She deserves everything. Rasheeda gazed stone-faced, yet her palm grabbed the edge of the table like a vice. Outside the courthouse, mayhem was erupting on social media. Then the leaked voice note entered the internet, courtesy of a shady aide in the corridor. Sex burst. Kirk Frost exposed. Justice for Rasheeda. Jasmine was correct. Jasmine was right. Ariel divorce diaries. Fans were uploading screenshots, quotes from the hearing, even memes of Kirk sweating under the lights, and VH1 already editing next. Week's commercial coming up. On Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Rasheeda finds out the actual reason her marriage was doomed from the start. Inside, it wasn't only Kirk's reputation on the line. Now it was his independence since the financial disclosures Jasmine offered opened up a new door. Tax fraud. If the LLC payments were LLC payments that weren't disclosed, and if he claimed them under false pretenses, that's illegal. That's jail time. Tasha flicked another folder open. Your Honor, we now file an IRS flag report. These funds weren't disclosed. Victor stood up. Your Honor, we need time to answer. The judge hammered his gavel. Court is deferred till next week. And Mr. Frost, you are thus commanded not to relocate, hide, or transfer any assets under pain of law. Kirk's jaw fell. Jasmine rose up, gathered her stuff, and marched out, without even looking back. Rasheeda finally semi-archy in the hallway. Rasheeda went into the press circle. Do you feel vindicated? Are you? Porter asked. I feel liberated, she said. Are you upset at Jasmine? No. I'm angry I didn't believe her sooner. What happens now? Rasheeda gazed hard into the camera. Now I take my life back and he has everything he's been concealing pulled into the light. She went off and behind her, a fourth lady was standing. At the courtroom steps, observing, texting, smiling. The cameras were waiting outside. The whispers had turned into tweets, the tweets into threads, and the threads become full-blown conspiracy videos. But within the courtroom, a tempest was still rising, and none was ready for what followed next. Because just as Rasheeda was walking down the courtroom steps, another lady came forward. She wasn't a Love and Hip Hop cast member, not a stylist, not a recognized ex. But the instant she stepped up and stared Kirk in the face, Rasheeda halted in her tracks. This lady seemed familiar. Too familiar. Excuse me, Rasheeda said, holding a white package. Mr. Frost? Kirk turned slowly, hoping she was only giving him paperwork. Maybe a fan. Maybe someone from the court. She wasn't. I didn't know where. To submit this, she said. So, I decided I'd deliver it to you personally. Then she dumped the envelope in front of the reporters, turned around, went away. Dead quiet. Cameras zoomed in. Kirk leaned down carefully, opened it, and obviously recoiled. Inside was a DNA test, dated, signed, with his name on it, and the name of a 4-year-old boy. Rasheeda stared over his shoulder, jaw clenched. Another one. Kirk. He didn't answer. She pulled the paper from his hands, scanned it. Jan scoffed. You were flying out to visit this baby while telling me you were on work travels. Oh. Reporters instantly mobbed the site. Jasmine, only feet away, shook her head and muttered to her cousin, Told you he wasn't done lying. Kirk fought to recover. His feet. That's not what it looks like. Save it, Rasheeda interjected. This guy would lie over a napkin if it meant preserving power. The new lady, now known to be called Maya Lynette from Charlotte, added to her Instagram story 10 minutes later. I told y'all I was weary of being silent. DNA don't lie. My kid deserves to know who his father is, and obviously he ain't the only one. Kirk Frost has 4 trended within 30 minutes. Back within, Rasheeda's legal team hurried to make an emergency request to broaden the asset freeze since suddenly, this wasn't only about adultery, it was about long-term lying. And each additional kid meant more money, more falsehoods, and more backtracking. The judge examining the new bombshell as he prepared for the next hearing allegedly stated to his clerk, this man might have just sunk his own ship. Meanwhile, VH1's production vans were circling the block like vultures. They asked Mia to come to set. A source from within the network stated, "We weren't planning this, but if she signs that waiver, it's a wrap for Kirk." Even Monisco Young herself was cited phoning producers directly. Rasheeda wasn't only digesting the betrayal. She was prepared for the death shot by that evening. She had shared a footage on her Instagram. "I kept mute for years. Protected those who didn't deserve my peace. But now I'm done defending. I'm establishing my kingdom without the falsehoods behind her." A stylist arranging a brand fresh picture shoot. The caption, "New Rasheeda, new era, no Kirk." Her supporters ate it up. The Shad Room republished it within seconds. So did Hollywood Unlocked TSR Teenagers and Baller Alert. But the true moment that shattered the internet, it's when Candy Barus plunged into the melee. Candy went to her Instagram live that night. "Listen, I don't generally get interested in people's relationships, but I informed Rasheeda years ago that this guy was dodgy. I saw some things back then that didn't feel well with me. And now all I'm going to say is, you reap what you sow." That's when Tiny Harris got in the discussion, girl. And this ain't even half of it. Fans sought to know what she meant. Some said there was a report that Kirk had been in Magic City only 3 nights previously with yet another lady who was not Jasmine, Rasheeda, or Maya. Screenshots dropped. Blurry but damning. A receipt indicated a $2,800 bottle service cost with the name Frost Inc. Under the table, a female tagged at Chanela one posted. He stated, "I was the only one who understood his actual stress. Boy, please." That's when Rasheeda did the unimaginable. She convened a news conference. Yes. Not a social media rage, not a cryptic tweet, a complete news conference in a conference room she leased herself. Standing at a platform, accompanied by her lawyer and her publicist, Rasheeda gave what the internet nicknamed her Beyoncé Lemonade moment. "I remained because I believed in progress. I remained because I felt loyalty mattered. I remained because I didn't want my kids to witness another unsuccessful Black family. But I'm not staying anymore. This marriage hasn't ended yet. They're taking it apart. Bit by bit, lie by lie, woman by woman." She hesitated. "And for the record, I don't resent any of the ladies who've come out. I appreciate them 'cause they gave me the last push I needed to let this guy go. I never look back." For 2 days straight, Kirk kept his face hidden. Later that Friday evening, however, he apologized on his Instagram using the Notes app. Traditional. "I never pretended to be flawless. I made errors, but I never wanted to damage the mother of my children. Ask for privacy as we traverse this challenging period." The area for comments. Brutal. "You wasn't looking for privacy at Magic City, buddy. It's your 87th error. How many kids you concealing in your basement? Not the Noapi again. You fumbled the realest lady on TV? Congrats. But Jasmine, she wasn't done either, since when Maya dropped the DNA papers, Jasmine dropped something worse." A complete audio clip from Kirk talks about how he never loved Rasheeda the same way after season 6. How he simply remained for image. How he regretted letting Rasheeda handle the company, and how he had a backup plan in case she ever quit. The last 10 seconds of the recording, Kirk laughs and stating she thinks she gained power, but I'm the one with the money. Too bad that money's frozen. And too bad the audio recording simply became proof the instant Jasmine's voice note was public. Rasheeda's lawyer downloaded it before the bloggers could even complete publishing. She didn't flinch. She didn't weep. She didn't tweet. A dot. She summoned an emergency strategy meeting because the tape that wasn't simply Kirk humiliating himself. That ammunition was lawful. And Rasheeda now had the blazing gun to go for everything, not only in divorce, but in business. He answered, "What?" The judge allegedly said at the following court action that he remained for image, Your Honor, that he was not in love with her, that he was prepared, quiet. The judge then turned to Kirk. Double quotations. "Frost, Mister, do you deny making these statements?" Kirk's mouth opened. Shut it. It was prepared. Because suddenly, the discussion had switched. It wasn't about who cheated or who left. It was about fraud, image manipulation, and concealed financial objectives. And Rasheeda was ready to take it all the way by. The following morning, Rasheeda sought to alter her divorce petition again. This time she wanted complete ownership of the brand, all home assets, and retroactive spousal reimbursement based on Kirk's exploitation of her image and emotional work to establish Frost Enterprises. In plain words, if you utilized me to create your firm, I demand my back pay. And guess who turned up to testify in favor of her? Jasmine. Yes. The same Jasmine that had almost pulled her and Kirk apart. But when the judge asked why she was there, Jasmine answered, "Because I'm tired of being used too. Kirk fed me falsehoods, used my identity, hid behind me. But Rasheeda, she the only one who held that guy down through it all? Hey, and she deserves better." Shock. Absolute shock. Even Rasheeda blinked in surprise, but Jasmine kept going. He played all of us. I was 23 when I met him. He claimed he was leaving Rasheeda. Never did. Then when I became pregnant, he urged me to remain silent, told me the truth would damage the brand. That brand don't belong to Kirk. It belongs to the lady who went through it. Kirk's legal team went into panic mode. They sought to have the voice recordings suppressed, tried to portray Jasmine's testimony as bitter, even implied that Rasheeda was weaponizing drama to harm his name. But Rasheeda's lawyer put it all down with one statement. Kirk Frost's reputation wrecked itself the day he chose to approach marriage like a PR gimmick. And the judge, he agreed. He permitted the voice note. He accepted Jasmine's declaration, and he planned a complete audit of Frost Enterprises to track every dollar Rasheeda helped create. Meanwhile, streets were talking Kirk memes hit the internet. One popular tweet depicted Kirk clutching a